Welcome to the Sports Show. Mike Max, Trent Tucker, Lou Nanny, and the one and only Sid Hartman. Sydney, how are you today?
I'm okay.
Yeah, let's start with the NCAA. It's one of your favorite events, the NCAA basketball tournament. We can talk NCAA hockey, whatever you want. I covered about 40 of them, so I loved them. The great thing about those NCAA tournaments years ago, all the coaches are there, and Knight would bring all his former assistant coaches who became head coaches, and we had a schedule from Thursday night till Monday night at all different restaurants, and only two sports writers were allowed, Bob Hamill of Bloomington and myself, and we had a ball. And he's like the Pied Piper. Everybody. Bob Hamill?
Huh?
Hamill is or Knight?
Knight.
Knight is, okay.
Everybody following him to try and have him help them get jobs. It was amazing. And he quit going on kind of that. But that, outside the Super Bowl, and I'm not so sure I like that better than the Super Bowl. That's the best event of all time. The kids, the bands, the cheerleaders, the whole thing is a fantastic event. But they've made it such a big event. We had it here in '51 when Kentucky beat Kansas. Was nothing.
Where was that, Williams Arena?
Yeah.
But Trent, I'm not so sure the first 2 days aren't a bigger deal than the Final Four and the championship now. I think people just love those first 2 days more than they love the Final Four and the championship.
Well, everybody's looking for Cinderella to see if one of the lower seeds can knock off one of the biggest seeds. So it's a very exciting time in those first 2 days. But it seems like that the upper seeds have found their rhythm and found their way, and they're moving on throughout the tournament.
And usually that happens. There's maybe one that makes a run. Louis, did your bracket get busted early?
Yeah. When did it start?
Whenever it started, right?
Actually, I got to tell you, when you look at it, the Final Four, what Sid said is right. You take the Super Bowl, that's far and away the best. There's nothing like it. But even talking to people in Vegas, outside of the Super Bowl, the next heaviest betting day is the Final Four, and you get down to the Final Four weekend. I mean, that's so much excitement. It's unreal. I've been to 3 or 4 myself, which was unique, and I thoroughly enjoyed it.
But they say that Vegas, the first weekend, last weekend, is the craziest of all because everybody's betting every game and you can sit in there from start to finish. Trent, Kentucky has obviously emerged in an era where we used to think that parity was back in college basketball. Kentucky is just a cut above everybody.
It's parity and then it's Kentucky.
Yeah, I mean, everybody's playing for second place is what you feel like.
Well, you know, the one thing that John Calipari has done, he's gotten those guys to buy in. When you bring in all these top tight recruits, everyone thinks these guys wants to have their own individual stats. But he's done a very good job of getting them to play team basketball. How
far away are the Gophers from being an NCAA tournament team? I take it they're a ways away, huh?
Well, you know, after last year's run toward the NIT championship, you thought that this year they would make their move toward the NCAA tournament, but they took a step back. It's going to be very important to see how the coaching staff goes out during the offseason and recruits to bring in some top-flight players.
Louis, at the University of Minnesota, when you talk about the cash cows, because you're involved in raising money for them, how important is basketball, how important is football, how important is hockey?
Well, those are your 3 top revenue sports. Again, football being #1 far and away, and basketball #2, and hockey #3, because they all benefit from the TV revenues that are generated by the Big Ten as a whole. And if you look at all the Big Ten, just the fact that they get into bowl games, big bowl games, and are in so many of these Final Four games, that money coming in helps all the teams. But it's important to have your own team successful, and the Gopher basketball team is the 3rd one right now because hockey's back in it again. Football's made terrific, just terrific strides. Kill's done an unbelievable job. And now we got to find three players maybe to get you back in, right? Three good players.
Only
enough
3,
to turn
right?
it around.
Only 3.
That's a good part about it. Stop and think about it. Basketball, you need the least amount of players of the 3.
That's the good news.
That's the good news.
But if you don't get them,
that's the bad news.
What did you? Freddie Hoiberg got beat in the opening round. A lot of people thought he would go a lot further. Iowa State.
Well, they had a lot of games where they won at the end, and Here's what happens in the NCAA, the way I look at it. You got schools like Davidson, you got schools like that Georgia, whatever it is. They don't have football. Basketball is the only sport that counts. They get anybody in school if they spell cat, K-A-T.
Well, you don't know that. You don't know if Davidson's not a place. Davidson's an academic institution.
That have coached at those small schools.
But like Davidson's an academic institution.
I'm not talking about Davidson. I'm talking about a lot of those small schools who can get anybody in school. They can't get in the big schools.
You can't say that the Gophers don't get in who they want to get in.
I'm not comparing the Gophers with them.
Okay.
I'm just talking about the NCAA. What makes it great is these small schools knocking off the big schools.
Well, and Harvard almost beat North Carolina that day.
Went right down to the wire. I mean, Harvard had a great chance, and they just couldn't come up with some timely baskets. And they had a chance to knock off Carolina, but it's hard to knock off those big schools because they have one or two players when the game is on the line, they can make a play here or there.
You can't get them all, Trent, but obviously when the NCAA tournament comes out, you do look at what Minnesotans are
I'm not putting Harvard in that category.
No, I didn't think you were. No, I didn't think you were putting Harvard in that category. Just Coastal Carolina, maybe. Harvard, I don't think. But you see Siani Chambers and Travis at Harvard. You see, obviously, Tyus Jones at Duke. You see at Xavier, J.P. McCurra. What can they do to make this a more attractive place so that they don't leave?
Well, they got to get out and sell the university. And I think they need to sell the Twin Cities overall. And, back in 1978, Jim Dutcher put together the #1 recruiting class in the country. So if he could do it back in 1978, why can't we do it today?
Yeah.
Here's this thing. Iowa's got 5 Division I schools. They have 3 Division I schools.
And 3 of them are in the tournament.
Wisconsin has 3, 4 Division I schools. We have 1 Division I school, and we can't do the job they do in those states. Why is that?
Well, let's talk about that when we come back. Stay with us on The Sports Show.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Canterbury Park 24/7 Card Club. Don't forget the Card Club at Canterbury Park. Cambria, makers of quality quartz surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. And Soundpoint Audiology. Life is worth hearing.
Quality. It's the result of shared values. The joy found in an honest day's work. Respect for true American craftsmanship and the need, not the want, to get things right. It's the result of remembering your roots, being forever humbled by how far you've traveled and forever hungry to push on further. Quality is a result. Quality is who we are. Cambria. Family owned, American made.
You're watching CW-23.
Barnett's exclusive million-mile warranty. New vehicles covered for 1 million miles.
As many miles as going to kiss the Barney Stone 271 times, and you'd still be covered.
Time to save big on 2015s. Drive a new 2015 Kia Sportage for only $149 a month, or a new 2015 Sorento, also just $149 a month.
Million miles, million miles.
Highway 61 in White Bear Lake or BarnettAuto.com. Barnett.
Change is in the air. Time to change your clocks, try new things, and update your wardrobe. A new season means it's time to head to Plato's Closet. They have the fresh looks and styles for a lot less than at other stores, and they pay cash on the spot for your cool, gently used clothes, shoes, and accessories. So march on to Plato's Closet.
Announcing the star of the auto show, Luther Kia, and the incredible lineup of new Kias. New 2015 Kia Soul, just $79 a month. New 2015 Sorento, $149 a month. New 2015 Optima, $119 a month. Get $8,000 off MSRP on any select new Kia. Have a job? Want an award-winning low price? You could be approved today. Guaranteed. We're your star of the auto show. Luther Kia, Inver Grove, and Luther Kia, Bloomington. 2 great locations, 1 very low price.
See why more people are coming to Audi than ever before at Audi Minneapolis. Experience the legendary performance and handling of an A4 2.0 T Quattro. Lease yours for only $379 a month. Plus, Audi Minneapolis will make your first month's payment. Or try out the luxury and power of an A6. Lease for just $499 a month. The Summer of Audi event at Audi Minneapolis on 394 at General Mills Boulevard and at AudiMinneapolis.com.
Main Street is filled with hopes and dreams. The only thing you need is the right partner. The beacon of light that shines, that says we are in this together. That is Beacon Bank. Locally owned and community committed. They understand what you need. And they are your personal answer. Your friend in business and in life. Allow the folks at Beacon Bank to be a part of your life because they make dreams come true. Beacon Bank, it's a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Looking for a nice, big, juicy rack of ribs?
Fabulous chops, huge steaks, and the Buddy Bowl? Then J.D. Hoyt's is the place for you. Hoyt's opened in 1983, and Mike Andrews and his partner John White have kept this Minnesota tradition at the top of the food chain. Managing owner Pat Montague gives us a tour.
At J.D. Hoyt's, enjoy a relaxed atmosphere, great food, friendly service, private dining room, second-to-none happy hour, just blocks from the new ballpark.
Located at 394 in North Washington. Locally owned, nationally known. Hoyt's.
Stop on by J.D. Hoyt's coming to Minneapolis for one of the hockey tournaments these past couple of weeks, or the basketball tournaments are coming now to see the Timberwolves or anything else. The Twins eventually stop on by J.D. Hoyt's and get involved in a Buddy Bowl. Welcome back to the sports show. You can move it down to the Gophers. We were just talking, Trent, in '82 you made it to the NCAA tournament, but there were only, what, 32 teams then?
Only 32 teams.
Did you like that for? No, it was different because you almost.
It was
had
great for us. You know, we were just trying to get in.
Yeah.
It could have been 12 teams.
More to get in.
It was tough to get in. You had to win the Big Ten championship outright just to have a chance to make the NCAA tournament.
Yeah, and you guys had, what, 2 or 3 first-round draft picks on your team just to give people an idea how good you were.
Yeah, like I say, 1978, you know, Jim Dutcher, along with his coaching staff, went out and put together the #1 recruiting class in the country. And if he could do that back then, attracting players from all over the country to come to Minneapolis, I don't understand why we can't do that today.
Was Jimmy Williams on the staff?
Jimmy Williams was on the staff.
He was one of the great recruiters of all time. And Jim Dutcher is the best recruiter they've had forever.
Let me ask you about another guy, because I sat and watched the boys basketball tournament with him that you're at, and that's Terry Kunze. Wasn't Kunze a big part of that staff too?
Who?
Terry Kunze.
Terry Kunze was Flip on that? No, Flip
was on the staff at the end in 1982.
Probably more as a younger graduate assistant.
Yes, at that
Let me
time
tell you, there's got to find a way to get great players here, and ever since who was here? Ever since Dutcher was here.
Well, Haskins recruited some first round. Tom Haskins got some first round draft picks here too.
Haskins got some guys too. He found a way.
Well, as we found out, he found a way. Yeah.
To spell cat.
Yeah, to spell cat. He found a way to spell it. But your point is,
Haskins made one mistake, or he still might be coaching. If he wouldn't have kicked that
Archambault?
Yeah, off the team, he might still be coaching.
But that's kind of a fragile way to live your whole deal. Louis, the Gopher hockey team, in January, it didn't look good. Sid became a skeptic. I said, hold on. They won the Big Ten regular season title and won the Big Ten championship tournament. And now we'll play UMD in the first round of the NCAAs.
They had a great weekend, especially Adam Wilcox, because Friday night playing against Ohio State, he had to win the game, and he did win the game. They could have got beat by 3 goals. They were jittery. They were nervous. They knew they had to get by that game to get in the tournament. And Saturday, they were more relaxed. They played a terrific game. The game itself was a fabulous game between Michigan and Minnesota. But Minnesota was the better team, even though Wilcox had to make some saves. So did the Michigan goaltender. And the university and Saturday night played the way they can play. And they seem to be hitting their stride right now, which is a perfect time because they got to go to play Duluth in Manchester, New Hampshire.
In trouble, too.
And Duluth has given them some tough games. I was at the game in Notre Dame when the Gophers beat Duluth, and then Duluth beat them a couple games after that. So they match up pretty well. It's going to be a tough game, but the Gophers are where they want to be going into that game. They're playing their best hockey, and that's what they need.
I'll show you. We're moving, so I got all the hockey I covered. I was down there with Herbie.
It's a very small file, by the way.
Herbie in Detroit when they won an NC. I don't know if it was an NC.
Yeah, they won the NCAA
championship
right.
with Herbie down there. They won it, and I'm sitting watching that TV. I love those kids so much. I'm just praying they win that thing last night. Take the heat off of the coach, and I hope they go a long way. Shut a lot of these guys, anti-Lucia guys up. All of a sudden, they're quiet now.
Well, they got a great weekend coming up when they play up there. But you should come there. That should be another trip. Maybe you can help them out.
Is that the last one they won?
No. Lucia won 2 in 2002,
yeah,
2003.
at the XL Energy Center.
Right.
Where were you in your hockey files? That should have been somewhere, too, that he was at the XL when they won it, right?
I'll show you all the hockey.
But, Louis, I got to ask you about...
Mariucci was coaching, and Herbie was coaching all the hockey I wrote.
You talk about the NCAA basketball tournament. Now, there's conference tournaments for hockey. I mean, Minnesota was flooded with tournaments this weekend between the girls' basketball was playing, but, I mean, the 2 hockey tournaments plus the men's team playing out at the Joe Louis, plus the women playing at Ritter Arena. What can we do with these conference tournaments? It's not fun to watch when there's only a third of the building full, and at Joe Louis, it looked like they maybe had 3,000 people in an 18,000-seat arena.
That's the real problem. Basketball, their conference championships are well attended, comparatively speaking. They still get big crowds for most of the games. These hockey conference championships are not well attended, and it's unfortunate because you're going into big arenas. It should be a big event, a big night, and you get to play between 3,000 and 4,000 people watching you. I think at the XL they got up to 7 or 8, which was good there. The WCHA got up to 7 or 8.
Here.
They had it here.
Well, but they rotated, right?
We had Target Center and XL.
But you can't have it here every year. No. All the other schools are going to be upset, right?
And it's unfortunate. Maybe the conference championship just doesn't work for hockey the way it does in basketball.
Well, what would you do? Would you just say, hey, regular season champion gets the automatic bid and let's not have a conference tournament? What would you do?
Well, you could do that, or you could say, okay, regular season champion gets an automatic bid, but then have crossover games played, sort of start the regionals earlier. It'd be a broader regional base, and maybe those games being more important because then you're in or out that game. Maybe you draw bigger crowds.
You mean open up the NCAA tournament field?
Shut up for a second.
Another hockey question from Sid. I can't wait.
They would sell out every game.
Oh, if the Gophers are here.
Why don't they have it here where they
What did we just say?
But you can't have the Gophers.
We just said you can't have it. What a home ice advantage that would be for the Gophers.
You can't have the Gophers have home ice.
What would they say if they're Michigan and Wisconsin?
The other teams wouldn't be too happy about it.
Yeah. But why was the Big Ten down so much this year in hockey?
It's just one of those things, you know, the way things roll. Conferences go up, conferences go down. They had a lot of, for instance, Wisconsin was terrible this year, but they lost 9 guys to graduation, 2 guys turned pro, so they lost 11. Michigan had a couple of key guys turn pro. All the teams this past year had a big adjustment. The Gophers next year are going to lose a ton of people.
Yeah, they are.
So that's why it's important for them to do real well next year. It's going to be tougher for them next year with which they're going to lose.
Why has Minnesota State Mankato been so good?
They're doing a great job recruiting. They got Hastings has done a great job coaching and recruiting. They're getting key players. That's what's really surprising. Before, you used to see a lot of these other players take just maybe the highest ranked schools around the country. They'd be at 3 or 4 spots.
Yeah.
Now they go anywhere. I mean, the great players are popping up everywhere. And North Dakota continues to draw recruit real well.
See,
Duluth,
I think what you just said is so true, and I don't think a lot of hockey people realize this, is the talent pool is much bigger than it's ever been for colleges now. So there's no way that the powerful teams can stay on top because it's not just a couple All-Americans here that'll make or break you. There's a lot of really good players out there.
And what's happening is they have to commit to some of these kids, and they're sophomores.
Yeah.
They're getting scholarships. A lot changes physically by the time they're ready to go to college, which is 3 or 4 years down the line. So maybe they make wrong choices then. And now it's tough to readjust and get right back in the game because you've already made those picks.
What would you do?
I'm going to call Delaney this week.
Yeah.
I'll say if you had a brain in your head, you'd have the final NCAA here every year, or the Big Ten championship here every year. You sell out every game.
But will he take your call? Is the
They
big
didn't
question.
have nobody in Detroit.
No, they had none.
Take a break, come back, stay with us.
Ever wonder, why do I hear but not understand? Scientists at Cambridge University discovered the answer. Inside your cochlea, there are thousands of tiny hearing hair cells. Poor hearing occurs when regions of these hair cells die. Amplifying a dead region with hearing aids makes you hear worse, not better. The result of this study is a hearing clarity breakthrough. Using standard test equipment, dead regions of your cochlea are identified. Then, a new type of frequency-shaping hearing aid is programmed to bypass the dead regions. Only your usable hearing hair cells receive amplification. Brilliant. A local study is underway. 100 citizens with hearing problems are needed to receive this testing and then wear the tiny device for 10 days, recording your results. Call now to see if you qualify. Volunteers may keep the product at a special discount if they desire. Don't miss this opportunity. Call now.
Thanks for watching CW-23.
In a world full of compromise, the Audi A3 takes a different path. Get uncompromised design, the style and presence of Audi in a lighter, smaller form. Uncompromised performance, a lightning-quick turbocharged engine, and race-bred S-tronic transmission. Uncompromised luxury with standard leather seating and panoramic sunroof. Lease your A3 for only $299 a month. Plus, during the Summer of Audi event, Audi Minneapolis will make your first payment. Stay uncompromised. Audi Minneapolis.
Audi Minneapolis, right off of General Mills Boulevard. Stop on by and say hi to the gang. I was just out there the other day. Do they have some great inventory? Some made for you. Test drive the Q7 and see what you think.
Since they advertise on the show.
Absolutely. Welcome back to the sports show. Move her down to the wild on the menu button. Louis and
we had Chuck Everett on.
Let's go to our wild expert first. Sydney, what do you see in this team that they're able to? They destroyed St. Louis yesterday. I'm going to be honest. I don't think you were that optimistic they could beat St. Louis.
Hockey. They have done since the Minnesota Twins of several years ago got off to a bad start and then went to the playoffs. Chuck Everett, Fletcher has done one of the greatest jobs of any general manager around here. I think right now the way that team is playing, when you take St. Louis and just absolutely destroy them, and they're one of the best teams in the league, they got a chance to go to the Stanley Cup.
I doubt you can add much to that, Louis. That's all the hockey expertise has been used here, but your thoughts?
They can win the cup or they can miss the playoffs.
Yeah.
It's still not close because they still got to get in. Winnipeg and Calgary aren't losing. LA's right on their heels as well. So I believe they still need 8 points. That'll get them to 95 to make a playoff position. So in my thinking, they're in Toronto tomorrow. Hopefully they win that game. You got to be very careful you don't look past that game.
And the Islanders?
And then the Islanders the next thing. But I think if they won tomorrow in Toronto and beat Calgary and LA here in the weekend, they'll be in the playoffs.
The schedule, the last 3 games.
That's why I want this week.
On the road.
Are tough.
On the road. Are the Kings the scariest team because they're going to sneak in and play some really good team?
Well, the Kings are scary as far as, you mean getting in the playoffs?
Well, yeah, and if you got to play them, I mean, you could be a high seed and you end up with the Kings in the first round.
That's right, and that's what happened to them. They just snuck in when they won the Cup. They just barely got in the last day, and then they won the Stanley Cup. But I have to tell you, Winnipeg is playing terrific. Calgary is finding ways to win continually, so it's a battle just to get in.
Trent, do you believe that if you go on a winning streak at the end of the year going into the playoffs, you're better off, or do you take too much energy to get there if you're not careful?
Well, you like to ride that wave of momentum. You know, at the end of the year, if you're playing well, you feel good about yourself. Also, it shows a sign of mental toughness, because if you're fighting for one of those last 2 playoff spots, that means that you have to go into some tough places and win some tough games.
Yeah, so do you think you can be spent at the end of a regular season, or if you're winning, does the energy take care of itself?
Well, you want to get there, so you know that you have to expend a great deal of energy just to get there. And the only way you can win a championship is by making it to the playoffs. And what I've seen from the Wild so far as they come down this stretch is a great deal of mental toughness.
When we come back, we'll talk about the Timberwolves rebuilding, and then you want to stick around for the very special Sid on Sid. Stay with us.
If you guys could go on a free shopping spree anywhere, where would you go? I go to the grocery store. Pizza, ice cream. I go shop for clothes. You know where I go? I go to Ticket King. Ticket King! At Ticket King, you can buy great seats for the Vikings, the Wild, the Timberwolves, and of course the Twins. We love the Twins. Yep, this is where I go. Vikings, Twins, Wild, Timberwolves, Gophers, theater, and concerts too. For details, go to ticketkingonline.com. Any ticket, anytime, anywhere. It's the real thing. It's Ticket King. Right, Dad?
Couldn't have said it any better myself.
That's for sure.
You're watching CW-23.
Main Street is filled with hopes and dreams. The only thing you need is the right partner. The beacon of light that shines, that says we are in this together. That is Beacon Bank. Locally owned and community committed. They understand what you need. And they are your personal answer. Your friend in business and in life. Allow the folks at Beacon Bank to be a part of your life because they make dreams come true. Beacon Bank, it's a member of the FDIC and an equal housing lender.
Beacon Bank, there it is. Responsive, reliable, reassuring. You bet it's Beacon Bank. You want a great partner to go through the small business juncture of your life? Call Bob Weiss and his gang. Sit down with them and find out what a real American dream is all about. Welcome back to the Sports Show.
I'll see Beacon Bank every day now, starting a week from Sunday, because the Star Tribune is moving there.
Now, you get just a cubicle now, or what is it?
Pardon me?
You get just a cubicle now instead of an office now that they moved?
I got an office.
Oh, you still get an office?
Yes, sir.
Wow. Last week you were not here, and it was Sid Hartman's birthday, his 95th birthday. They celebrated it in many different ways.
He never kept me a piece of cake either.
You didn't know how quick that was gone?
Yeah.
But one of the people that wanted to wish him a happy birthday,
was 5 days old, is what I'm saying.
I got a good deal on it, though.
Got a deal on the cook.
But you still ate it.
Yeah, you still ate it. One of the people that wanted to wish him a happy birthday from the Twins past, and they wanted to say this to Sid.
Hey, Sid, just want to say happy birthday.
What's up, Sid? LaTroy Hawkins here. You probably don't remember me, but happy birthday.
Have a good one.
Two characters.
Justin Morneau and LaTroy Hawkins. Marty Davis got that for you when he was down at spring training. It was nice enough to send it this way. But you got a lot of well-wishers. Very nice of them to wish you a happy birthday.
Marty Davis wanted me to fly down with him with the Twins. But I've had problems with that seizure problem, like Kill has, and I don't want to wind up any place in a hospital. But Marty Davis was nice enough to call me and on his airplane and take him down there. But I'm not going any place because I got health problems right now.
Yeah, but it's very nice that people are looking out for you. That's
I appreciate all the friends I had.
What do we, Trent, it is my summation at the end of the Timberwolves season, we'll look back and say, okay, they've got Andrew Wiggins and then some suspects and some question marks. What do you think?
Well, I mean, you know, the team kind of lost its zeal at the start of the season when some of the best players went down with injuries. And you're hoping as you move into next season, the young players can become better, you know, throughout the offseason, and some of your better players can stay healthy next year to see what you have. Yeah, I'm not as optimistic as, say, some people are, that this thing is on its way up anymore. Hang on,
Phil Harris? Who's the guy running in the Knicks?
Phil Jackson.
Phil Jackson.
Phil Jackson.
Close. Hey.
How can his team...
We don't have time for this. You have to do a Sid on Sid. Give us your closing thoughts.
Closing thoughts?
Look at that camera.
Phil Jackson running the great Knicks. They beat the Spurs one night, and the next night they lose to the
Timberwolves.
He's smart.
What a tough job he's got.
The Sports Show is brought to you in part by Canterbury Park 24/7 Card Club. Don't forget the Card Club at Canterbury Park. Cambria, makers of quality quartz surfaces. Ticket King. For the best price on tickets anywhere, try Ticket King. And Sound Point Audiology. Life is worth hearing.